Hello and welcome to this episode of the Blog Chronicles. I am your host, Matthew Loomis. This show is sponsored by BuildYourOwnBlog.net, the full-service destination for people who want to start their own WordPress blog and achieve long-term success. Visit Build Your Own Blog to start your new blog today. My guest today works as a college chaplain full-time while running his blog. Before that, he was a music director at a parish. And in his spare time, he has been building a following, writing for his own blog, and also guest blogging on sites like Tiny Buddha and Positively Happy. You can tell he's a busy guy and a spiritual guy, which is why his blog is called Spiritual Living for Busy People. It makes sense. It's a great fit for him, and he has a lot of advice and wisdom to share, especially for the aspiring blogger wanting to break into the spiritual blogging niche. So let's get our chronicle on today with Cylon George. Hello, Cylon. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Matt. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I just realized it's Cylon.
Cylon, yes.
Cylon.
That's right. Cylon.
Okay.
It's an unusual name.
I like it. I'm all about
Thank you.
uniqueness, and that's a really cool name. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
Cylon, let's start with your blog, spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. How long have you been blogging at this domain?
So I've been blogging. Well, I changed the domain name. It was my name, cylongeorge.com. And I changed it. I can't remember when I changed it exactly to Spiritual Living, probably a year in, but I started blogging about 2.5 years ago, sort of in the spring of 2014. And yeah, over that time, I was sort of experimenting and trying to find my way in this medium, and eventually changed the name to spirituallivingforbusypeople.com.
Okay, I'm just curious, how did that transition go for you? I mean, how did you do that from one domain name to the next?
Not easily.
Yeah.
And it was, it was kind of a technical thing that I can't really remember exactly how I did it, to be honest, but it took a while. I had to do a lot of research online. And I was actually taking a blogging course with John Morrow, who you might have heard of.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of John.
Yes. So along my journey, I figured out, I needed help. And so I was taking one of his blogging courses, and it was in that course that I realized that I needed to change my name. And so it was through that, working with Marsha, who works with him, in coming up with that name, and then figuring out how to change it. And I think it was a little bit of a help from her, but then also with me kind of just going in, diving in, doing in lots of, searches on Google. But it's been so long, but once I did it, it took a little while for the change to propagate and happen. But once it did, it worked fine. But I definitely would not recommend it. I would put a lot of thought into coming up with a name that works for you, because it's not a very, especially if you're not doing this stuff every day, it's very tedious.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, if you could do it over again, would you have not started with a domain name of your personal name?
Right. That's a good question. I think, and I did do some research about this, in looking up, okay, is it okay to use your own name, or should you use a different name? And the answers were all over the map. Some were saying, yes, use your own name because it's your personal brand. Others were saying, well, maybe that only works for people who are already well known, and so maybe the way is to use a name that sort of communicates what your brand is about. So I was really torn. I went back and forth. I think if I had to do it over again, I don't think I would have chosen my name. And so I think I would, even though I'm kind of torn still, I would, if I were advising someone, I would probably fall on the side of not using your name unless you were already a known brand. I would try to find a domain that worked, that really communicated what your, unique selling point was. What is your brand about? I would go with that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is good to talk about because I know this is something a lot of new bloggers and people considering blogging are thinking about. This reminds me of a quote that I came across a few years ago by Chris Brogan, and he said that he wished he would have named his domain not Chris Brogan, but
Uh,
something else. Like I think he used just flying monkeys or something off the top of his head, But his point was, I forgot exactly how he said it, but the point was, once you're done with that domain, how marketable is it to the next person? You know what I mean?
yes, that's right. That's right. Exactly. And you know what? If so, think I'm in good company then with Chris Brogan.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah, because he's, I think he's right, and I think about that, especially, with some of the big bloggers now who use their name. I wonder, well, okay, if I were in their shoes, what would I be thinking in terms of a transition plan, or like when I'm no longer the face of the platform,
Yeah,
how does that work?
right.
So absolutely, yeah. Um,
Yeah, so let's go on to your niche because I'm curious, how would you describe your niche or what is your niche called?
hmm. I would put myself in the personal development niche, even though, I mean, I think arguments can be made for or against, but I see myself as being in that niche, even though I'm sort of more on the spirituality side. And this
Yeah.
was, again, one of the things that I really struggled with. I am a religious person,
Hmm.
I am a person of faith. But I didn't want the blog to be a religious blog per se, but I
Right.
wanted it to have a lot of the wisdom of spirituality, of the various traditions, that could help people live better. So kind of drawing
Hmm.
from the spiritual religious world and presenting it in a way that people who may not be, a person of faith can absorb, even though I might mention God or talk about God or Jesus or Buddha or, whoever,
Hmm.
that they can take whatever the core message is and apply that to improve their lives. So I would say I'm in the personal development space.
Okay.
Um, Overall, yeah,
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was spiritual or self development. That's
right.
helpful, and that's why I'm excited to talk to you today because I get emails on a regular basis from people interested in starting a spiritual or self development type of blog.
Hmm.
So this is going to be a good conversation.
Good,
Um,
good, excellent.
what Salon? What drew you to this niche, and why do you think it was such a good fit for you?
Mm, it's a great question. Well, so first of all, maybe just a little bit of background. So I worked, and I actually just transitioned out of this, but for the last 5 years, I worked as a college chaplain. So
Mm.
again, being a person of faith, it's a big part of my life. I was actually working in that field. So I haven't, I do many things. I wear many hats. So I was a music major in college, so I'm also a music director at my church,
Mhm.
church organist, church pianist. So, faith and religion is a big part of my life. And I was just seeing online a lot of neat things that people were doing with spirituality and sort of the wisdom of the ages and applying it in a very new way that
Mhm.
really captivated me. Even, even business blogs, business blogs were talking about things that I cared about. And so, things that related to, spirituality. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. So I started kind of exploring that stuff. And then, exploring blogs as well, and, blogs have been around for a while, but I think maybe 2007, 2008, I think was probably when it started really, taking off. And I noticed a few of them, like Zen Habits, which you
Yeah.
might have heard of because it
Oh
is
yeah.
it is a massive
Hmm.
platform. And so I was seeing what was going on in those spaces. So Zen Habits, Tiny Buddha,
Hmm.
and just looking at what they were doing and thinking, wow, this is really neat stuff. And I have something to share. I felt like I had something on my heart that I wanted to just share. And so I felt like, and again, I think for new bloggers, this is a very tricky thing where you struggle with the feeling, oh my goodness, there's a billion blogs out there.
Yep.
Why even bother? I'm gonna get lost. But,
Yeah.
and so I had those thoughts going in, and I thought, you know what, I just felt compelled. I had this thing on my heart I wanted to share. In my work as a college chaplain, I was having really neat conversations with folks, with students, staff, faculty, really amazing conversations that I thought, wow, I need to capture the essence of some of these conversations and share them online. And
Yeah.
so that was really the thing that kind of got me going. Even though I was very afraid, I was very fearful. I'm a pretty private person. I'm actually kind of shy. I actually have a stutter, so you might hear me stutter a few times. So I really struggled with putting myself out there, even writing, because what if I, were to be judged? I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with. Me as a person of faith, what if I write something that offends someone, or if I write about Buddha, if it offends a Christian, and on and
Hmm.
on and on. And I had all these thoughts just circling back and forth, but I, in the end, decided to start, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, me too. I think that's really, really cool that you just did it afraid, so to speak.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, are there any other tips that you could, share as far as overcoming that initial fear of putting yourself
Oh,
out there?
oh man. Man, I think the number one thing is you just got to do it. You just have to I would say take the tiniest step you can take towards starting this thing that you want to start. You want to start a blog, you want to write. Okay. I don't know, register a domain name, which for some people might be a small thing, but for others, maybe even for me, I think as I'm thinking back,
Hmm.
registering a domain name was a huge deal. Because again, as I had mentioned, I was struggling with what should I call it? Should it be my name? Should it be something else? If it's
Hmm.
something else, what am I going to call it? So I was going on and on and on. And I just decided I chose something. And even though I changed it in the end because I thought, this isn't working,
Hmm.
I started. And so starting, even if you start imperfect, is much better, is
Yeah,
100% better than not starting at all.
right.
So I would say take a little tiny step, if it means, so registering a domain name, writing down some thoughts on paper
Right.
and just looking at it, whatever it is, take one small tiny step.
That is such good stuff. So,
Mm,
Salon, can you describe your audience for us? Like, who are you targeting with this blog?
It's a great question. I'm targeting I'm targeting people who feel, so on my blog, on my about page, I have, sort of as I've discerned as my unique proposition is really helping people slow down so they can focus on the things that matter most in
Hmm.
life. So I think the kind of person that I'm targeting are people who feel so overwhelmed and hurried in life and distracted. There are a million things out there
I think
that
that's pretty
are,
much all of us.
yes, exactly. At this point, right? At this point, I think there was a time when, it was a smaller group, at least in terms of our
Yeah.
current state with technology and everything.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think you're right. At this point, it's all of us. But I think I think there is that large group, but then there is a smaller group of people who make a choice and say, I have to do something. I have to do something to, protect myself, to reflect, to kind of go inward, to slow down
Hmm.
and figure out what are the things in my life that matter most and focus on those things and let the other things come and go. So I would say, my audience are people who get that and who care deeply about the spiritual life, about the inner life,
Hmm.
which again, I think is something that is really, and I'm very happy to see this happening. I think it's getting a lot more, it's being noticed. I think there was a time when we really like to just focus on the outward stuff. So the appearance, how you look, the
Hmm.
clothes you wear, the car you drive, the money you have in the bank, your house, so kind of, keeping up with the Joneses, your appearance. As long as you appear to others to be happy, then that was great. That was the goal. And
Yeah.
I think now people in every walk of life are realizing, no, that is a miserable way to live, that it should be from the inside out. And in fact, if you cultivate an inner life, you can really weather lots of storms out there, not having lots of money or not having a job, or, not to say that any of these things are easy or anything that you'd wish on anyone, but cultivating an inner life helps us navigate life. We know that we all have tough times. If you haven't had tough times yet, you will, because we all, that's just a part of life. So I think my audience are people who care about that deeply.
Fantastic. Can you share with us any recent tweets or emails that you've received from one person, maybe just that
Oh,
gave you some feedback on how you touched
that's a
their
great
life?
that's a great question. So I'm actually kind of going into my inbox. I have gotten some really amazing notes. I don't get inundated at this point because I'm not a massive, platform, but I get a good stream of emails from folks who are thankful for what I put out.
Hmm.
And it really keeps me going because some days it's not easy. And I remember, let me see if I can find this. One person um, shared something with me that was just that just blew me away.
Hmm.
Um, and it was really, they basically said to me, I look forward to your emails. Now that is like one of the, like I have, a dedicated folder like with your name on it, and
Oh
when
wow.
your
Yeah.
emails come, I read them, and I usually send a short email every time a post comes out, just kind of a little bit of a teaser to the post, and then
Hmm.
it gives them a link to the post. And they say, I look forward to your posts every week, and how much it's helped me, overcome stress and so on. That
Yeah.
was just just an amazing thing to be said. I was really humbled and really gratified by that. So I get, I've gotten that. I get notes, from people who are just, again, just who are just thankful that this stuff is out there, and that it helps them to really think about things that they might not have thought of, or think about things in a with a spin.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that really keeps me going. It's really amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we bloggers, we're all human, and
Oh yeah,
every compliment we get is great. We love it.
absolutely,
We
absolutely. And you know
appreciate it.
what? Yes, absolutely. And I don't. I love that. I don't shy. I mean, there was once, and I think for me, this has been part of my personal development journey,
Hmm.
that I had a hard time accepting, like, let's say, praise,
Uh huh.
and, I sit, and now I accept it. I accept it not in a boastful or, kind of way like that, but just with gratitude to say, wow, somebody, this is reaching someone, one person. Um, and it's making an impact in their lives. And
Right.
so I say, you know what, if for it's okay, to just accept gratitude with gratitude.
Ah,
Um,
that's good.
you know, yeah, as you were asking me about what kinds of emails I've gotten, I was kind of searching as I was talking.
Uh-huh.
So one person is writing and said, thank you for your emails. I know, let's see, this is a person who had emailed me before and hadn't gotten in touch with me for a while. So she was saying, I have not replied or thanked you for a long time. This email was perfect. And just kind of just saying, this is what I get a lot. A lot of people saying, this email came at the right time.
Wow.
I really needed to hear this,
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know, and it's always amazing. And again, the person goes on, thank you for your email and reminding me to just slow down.
Wow.
Yeah, and that it inspired her to take time off to just spend time with a loved one. So that's just amazing, and that's what
That'll motivate you for the next 2 weeks, you know?
absolutely exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, that is a fabulous thing. And then that's great that you're getting that feedback. Let's stick to the subject of emails here. I want to
Mhm.
ask you, you are obviously building an email list.
Yes.
And so you said that you just sending out posts whenever a new post comes out? You're sending them a notification, or do you do a newsletter, or what do you do with your emails?
All right. So with my emails, I do. So I publish every Thursday morning, and I send an email every week with saying that the post is ready. Basically, a bit of a teaser, just kind of saying what the general topic is about, but to really learn more about it, click here to read. Um, but I've also sent emails from colleagues. If I have a colleague who wants to share something, um, you know, I've also done a few of those. I don't do many of those because I try to keep my emails. I try not to email too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to limit that. But if I see something that comes across that I think can serve my audience, I
Mm-hmm.
would share. I would share it. I actually just experimented with an affiliate campaign,
Okay.
which was I'll be honest, it was a very painful process for me because um, and again, I think this is part of my own growth. The idea of selling
Right.
um, is tough, and I think for new bloggers, I think this is something they will probably struggle with, and especially in the
Yeah.
space I'm operating in. So in the sort of personal development slash spiritual space
Mm-hmm.
where you're not really expected to sell too hard.
Yeah.
So that was an experiment I did over the holidays. And for that, I did send a lot of emails,
Mm-hmm.
with that campaign. Um,
So
but it was a
how do you
really
think it
good,
went over?
I think it went over better than I expected. I think, a lot of people are afraid of offending people, and sort of getting those nasty emails.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get one nasty email. Of course, but then of course for someone like me, I'm thinking, okay, maybe they didn't send an email, but you must know that you're really, angering folks in your audience, and they must be thinking, what is he doing? I did I did have a good number of people unsubscribe. And I didn't actually do like metrics, like a actual, detailed analysis of this, but
Mm-hmm.
just to my eye watching it, the unsubscribe rate didn't go up that much. It was probably about the same as the usual. So when I send my usual uh, e- uh, emails, it didn't go up that much.
Okay.
So I would say it was a lot better than I expected. I did get a couple sales, so
Cool.
that worked out pretty well. So yes, I was really pleased with that. And this was a product again that I really believed in.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
and
important.
exactly because I have been pitched a couple times, which again, as a so if you're a new blogger, the first time you're pitched is like like one of those milestones, right? When somebody
Oh,
pitches
you
you
mean
to.
to take part in the affiliate program?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
if somebody emails you pitching to to, become an affiliate or to share a so
Sure.
that's like, right. So that's one of those like milestone things where you're like, oh, that's amazing that I'm getting noticed in that way.
That is
But
cool.
then,
Yeah.
yes, but then quickly you realize, okay, that's cool, but I have to, I can't just, you know, be an affiliate or sell anything that anyone puts across my desk, uh,
Right.
so to speak. It has to be something that I resonate with, preferably something that I've used, which was both the case with this product. So
Okay.
so this was something I knew very well. This person I followed for years.
Hmm.
I've used their products, and so I was pretty confident that I could, with integrity, sell this because
Yeah.
I wasn't selling it just to make money. I was selling this because I have found benefit from this thing, and you might too. Um,
Yeah.
so
You must have thought that your audience would possibly resonate with it as well.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Hmm. So
Okay.
that's how I've used, yeah, that's how I've used, but mostly it's for the posts. But I do have some other things that I do. I'm toying with the idea of doing more with that in terms of, say, I've seen a lot of bloggers do things like, roundup posts, like regular roundup posts.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
like a Friday post or something like that. So that's something I'm kind of looking into, but it's just
Hmm.
finding the bandwidth and space for, doing that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Just one more question on this affiliate experience. Based on what you learned and your results, are you planning to do that again anytime soon?
That's a good question. So I would, yeah, yes, I would not, I would be open to doing it soon. So I probably wouldn't do it. If I were to do something, it would probably not be for another, let's say 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you just think your list needs a break.
I think so. Yeah, yep, I think so. I think my list needs a break. I think I need to also um, put some more concerted effort into growing my list
Hmm.
again.
Hmm.
So I think if I were to be, in terms of looking at my resources and time, because blogging isn't the only thing that I do, so I always have to be balancing my time. So I think in terms of where to put my time at this point, I think it would be working again to growing that list, and then probably 6 months time trying again.
All right, sounds good. So
Hmm.
on your site, I know that you give away for people that subscribe to your email list. They
Hmm.
actually get something for free in return. They get a book, a free ebook, and I love the title: 20 Little Tricks to Improve Your Mood, even if you feel like punching something or
Yes,
someone.
yes.
So, Salon, can you share with us one of those 20 tricks to improve your mood? And then, kind of give us a little teaser because I think people should go check out your book.
Absolutely. So this actually I'm pulling it up here.
Sure.
So yeah, so okay, so a couple things. So on this, um, I have 21, 20 tricks that can be done, right now and really help you, help someone really pull themselves back from the brink in a matter of seconds. One simple one, noticing your breath. So noticing that breath, taking a breath. It's so simple, right? But we forget, when we're upset, when we're in a mood, we forget that we're breathing, right? And so there is stimulus and then there is response, right? There's a stimulus of, I don't know, somebody said something to me that got me, angry. And so my immediate reaction is going to be to tell them off.
Mhm.
Well, in between that is a really tiny window where you get to choose. And so if you can remember to just take a breath, that can be
Mm.
all you need to make a different choice.
Yes.
So yeah, so I have that.
Now I'm breathing. I'm paying
Yeah,
attention to my breathing. Okay.
absolutely. That's right. you
S-
know, yeah.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say another thing that I share on this is trying to get in your head. And I'm going to share this one because this is one that I have struggled with. I go back and forth with. Sometimes I'm better, sometimes I'm worse with it. Is a little mantra that I use, and I know people have heard it before. Again, these aren't things that are like rocket science,
Hmm.
but we forget.
Hmm.
Is a mantra. It's not about me. It's
Right.
not about me.
Mm.
Don't
Yeah.
don't take it personally. It's not about you. So yeah, so
That's a
those are
good
like two.
reminder. Yeah, really, it is a good
Yeah,
reminder.
yeah.
It's so simple, but so wise and so true.
Thank you.
Salon, if somebody wants a copy of this book, what can they do?
So this is a little ebook, and actually it's just a little resource. And if you're interested, just go to my homepage. It's right on my homepage, spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. And when you go there, you will see um, a place where you can sign up for my blog. And when you sign up, you will get this little ebook. Um, so it says, on the homepage of my blog, yours free, hacks to help you stay calm. So if you click on Get Access Now, it'll take you to a form, enter your email, boom. And actually, if you enter your email, you have to confirm it first,
Hmm.
and then you'll get it. So yeah, so it's been downloaded, I guess at this point, thousands of times. So
Awesome.
so yeah, so if you want it, that's where it is, totally free.
Sounds great. Now,
Mhm.
aside from the affiliate marketing that you've done, and I know that you promote your other book on the website that we haven't talked about yet. Um, what are some other ways? I'm just curious that your blog. What are some other ways that your blog is monetized,
Mm. So it's really the
or
book.
future, or I
Yes,
should
right,
say, or
right,
future plans? Yes.
right. Future plans. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So on that, so again, so with me doing the affiliate marketing over the holidays, that was sort of my first. Uh, well, I sort of serious attempt, even though I have made a few attempts before. So I shouldn't say my first, but my latest attempt in terms of monetizing the blog. So I think I will be trying more of that, as I'd mentioned.
Okay.
I actually do have a support, you know, page on my site. So if anyone wants to support it that way, they
Okay.
can do that, which a few people do. Um, but in terms of the future, what I would like to look into is creating a course. I've seen lots of people online do some really neat things with courses, and I think that would be sort of the next big thing that I try. Um, so you mentioned my book. I wrote a little book this past summer called Self-Love: How to Love Yourself Unconditionally, and I think it's really been received well. And so I wanted to maybe take the material out of that book and create a course. So
Hmm.
that is what I'm looking into for the future.
Very good. Do you think it'll be
Mm.
this year, 2017?
I sure hope so. I would definitely like it to be this year. Again, with me juggling, a number of things in my life
Mhm.
um, right now. But you know what? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I want 2017 to be the year I create a course. Thank you for helping me to get some clarity on that, Matt.
Well, that's
2016,
great.
yeah, 2016 for me was the year of finally writing a book. I'll
Okay.
tell you that. So I've always wanted to write a book, and I said, okay, I'm not going to let 2016 pass without putting something out there. So I think I'm just going to have that mindset for creating a course, not sometime in the future. It's going to happen this year, 2017.
Fantastic. We can have you back on to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, is your book also available in print version or is it just an ebook?
So right now it's just in ebook. It's an Amazon Kindle book.
Okay.
But I have been asked by a few people for other formats. So I started working on that, but then life intervened and sort of sidetracked me. So my other big and actually it kind of really goes hand in hand with my intention to create a course
Hmm.
around this book. So I also want to have a print version of this book, and I'm going to be working on other, formats for the book. So I'm looking to expand that as well. I think that would
Fantastic.
really kind of hand in hand with a course.
That's great, Cylon. And you can hold me accountable too because this year I want to write my first book.
Yay!
There
Absolutely.
I said it. I said it on the air.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
now I've got to do it.
Yes. Do you have an idea? I mean,
Um,
I would imagine it would be on blogging.
yeah, it's going to be blogging related. I'm still deciding though the exact outline and exact angle to take. I still
Mhm.
haven't gotten that set in stone just yet.
Yeah. Yeah. In my experience, once I create the intention, like you're
Hmm.
doing, like I'm doing, and I say it out loud or write it down,
Right.
it's amazing how the gears, how your mind, your spirit, your soul, whatever you want to call it, starts working to make that happen.
Right. Yeah, that's why I
No,
wanted to go ahead and do that.
absolutely. Yep.
That's great. And I'll be linking, by the way, in the show notes to your book and your site and everything that we talk about here today.
Awesome.
All right.
Could I
So,
just mention?
oh, go
Could I
ahead.
just mention real quick because I did. You asked about the various formats for my book. It
Yeah.
could be also available in a PDF format. So PDF format or
Okay.
Kindle format right now.
All
So.
right. That sounds great. Cylon, what do you find the most satisfying when it comes to blogging?
Okay, so two things. So we already talked about one in some detail.
Mm,
The feedback,
yeah.
the interaction. So really interacting with real people who email me, sometimes long emails, which I don't mind. I read them.
Hmm.
Just sharing from their heart what they're struggling with. Some of the stories can be very heartbreaking and you feel very helpless, like I can't, I really want to just fix this, but I
Yeah.
can't, but they are reaching out to me, inspired by my words to share more about themselves or to thank me for the words that I've written and how much it's helped them. I mean, I would say that's just number one, and that's worth more than any money,
Hmm.
it's just an amazing thing to just know that you can put something out there and it really helps someone in that way. I would say the second really big benefit, well, maybe there's three, but a second big benefit, your question was what is
What do you
what's
find most satisfying?
most satisfying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I also have found satisfying is the way that blogging has really helped and I wouldn't say helped, I would say is helping because I'm kind of on this journey, is really helping me change my mindset around a number of things. Well, first of all, it really gives me clarity. It clarifies my thinking. So when
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing about topics, and as far as spirituality goes, it's a very nebulous area, right? Like, what in the world is spirituality, anyways, right? So a lot of the things I write about, I think a lot of people experience as nebulous, and they're not really sure what it is. Emotions, kind of squishy things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but these are things that I think matter. They're
Mm-hmm.
really important to me. I mean, obviously, I've dedicated a lot of my life to it. So,
Right.
and a big part of the blog is helping to make these things less squishy and more
Hmm.
practical, help people, right? So I think it's also helped me. It's helped me
Mm-hmm.
become clear in my thinking. So when I talk about love, when I talk about forgiveness, when I talk about, I don't know, compassion, here's what I'm talking about. I'm being very specific. I'm being, so it's really helped clarify my thinking
Yeah.
around these subjects. And I think I've found that to be very meaningful for me personally and
Mm-hmm.
satisfying and
Yeah.
gratifying as well.
That's a great point. I wish
Mm.
I could convey more to people that are thinking about blogging, but they just haven't done it yet, how much that it actually helps them too.
Yes.
Not just,
Yes.
it depends on, it doesn't matter what their niche is really. I mean, it's going to
Yes.
somehow help them in some way.
Yes. Seth Godin, who, I'm sure many people have heard of,
Oh yeah.
and I'm a huge fan of, which I am
Hmm.
not alone.
I am too.
Seth Godin has a thing that he says, I've listened to him in like podcast after podcast, and I listen to him every time, and I never tire of what he says.
Right. I'm the
One of
same
the,
way.
yeah,
Isn't he the greatest guest?
I know he's just amazing. And one of the things he says all the time is, he believes that everybody should have a blog.
Right.
You know, I know, and I know a lot of people think about blogging in terms of monetizing or having a certain lifestyle, which is definitely great. But
Mm-hmm.
even if you don't have those goals, I think having a blog for what we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
is just can really pay dividends in terms of helping you in your own thinking, in changing your mindset, in challenging yourself. Um,
Yeah.
it's really I believe too that it's something that everyone should at least try. At least try. Yeah.
We could talk about this for a long time. In fact, I'm jotting this down. I think this will make a great topic. Um,
Yes.
how
Yes.
blogging can how blogging helps you or changes you.
For your book. Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Um,
Absolutely.
Salon, what about something that you don't enjoy about blogging? Can you share one
Oh,
thing, something?
had to go there, huh? Okay. So, okay. Something I don't enjoy about blogging, it would be, and I would just have to be totally honest. Um, I think it would just have to be that, okay. I,
Oh boy,
it would have
there's
to
a pause
be,
here.
yeah, it would have to be just, the reason why I'm pausing is because it's kind of a mixed thing.
Hmm.
I like writing, but I also don't like it. I like it because of how it helps me clarify my thinking. I don't like it because I am a perfectionist. I want it to be perfect. I think over the years, I've gotten
Hmm.
so much better with it. So I've gotten myself into a flow. But
Yeah.
it's really having to show up every week and put pen to paper and come up with something that you think is worthy of being shared, is worth sharing, and that would matter, that somebody would take time out of their day to read. I think for me, the internal pressure of having to do that is hard. Sometimes it's easier than other times
Hmm.
because we all have seasons in our lives. So when I have the bandwidth for it, it's easier. When things happen in my life where, I have things on my plate, life gets busy, things happen at home, I still have to show up,
Yep.
and actually I really think I've grown and benefited because of that it doesn't mean that it's nice or pleasant. So,
Right.
so I have experienced a lot of personal growth because I've been willing to just keep doing it for the past 2 years, where I show up every week. It doesn't matter what's going on. I could be sick like a dog. I'm going to show up on that blog. So
Yeah.
that's hard. That's
Right.
hard. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a professional athlete,
Yes.
They may not feel good, feel like performing, but they still
Mhm.
got to do it. They show up and
That's right.
they give it their best.
That's
So
right.
that's interesting. Let me ask you this to close.
Okay.
How has blogging changed your life, Cylon?
Mm. Blogging has changed my life because it's it's made me more connected to my spiritual life. It's made me more connected to my faith life, which in the end, as I'd mentioned, matters to me a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really helped me get to know myself better. I think, and I think Socrates said this, right? Know thyself.
Yeah.
It's really the core mission and call for each and every one of us. I think it's an arduous task and journey, and I think for me, blogging has really helped me know myself better. And in the course of, because it can't just end with me, right? So spirituality has to be about something that's bigger than you, right?
Right.
If it ends with you, then in my mind, it's not, spirituality. So it begins with you, but then it goes out. So the way that I've been able to, touch lives,
Mm-hmm.
has touched my life. And so it's really changed my life in that way. It's helped me to be more bold, more confident. Gosh, I mean, the fact that I'm even here talking with you, I think a year ago uh, I would not have done it because I would have been so afraid. Not to say I'm not afraid now, but I'm doing it, right? So that's what blogging has done for me. It's given me a level of confidence or a level of courage. So even when I'm not confident, I still put myself out there. I still show up. So,
That's good stuff. Wow, Salon, where can people find you on social media?
so on social media, I can be found on Facebook, Spiritual Living for busypeople.com. If you search that, you'll find it there. On Twitter, my handle is at Cylon George, CYLONGEORGE. So yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. So that's where you can find me.
Salon, it has been a real joy to have you on the Blog Chronicles today. I mean, my breathing is so much more relaxed now. I'm
That's
being, I'm serious in a way. I actually
that's
am.
excellent.
You've got
That's excellent.
a presence about you that is very soothing and enlightening. So I want
Oh,
to
thank you.
encourage everyone to visit spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. Salon, it's been great talking to you, and
Thank you so much.
yeah, and I want to have you on again. We'll talk about your course.
I would love it. Thank you so much for having me, and I really hope that what I've shared would be helpful. So thank you again for having me, and I'd love to come back.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Blog Chronicles. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on YouTube or iTunes and leave a rating or review to help other bloggers find us. If you want to chat, look me up on Twitter at Matt Loomis. So who is going to be my next guest on the Blog Chronicles? She's an 86-year-old writer from the deep south of America who started writing freelance articles in her 30s and has published 6 of her 7 books after age 70. She is currently writing 2 new books and plans to start a blog. I'll see you next time.